all. I'm Sarah Bumgardner with AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. For over 144 years, we have been serving our military community. Our mission is to be the premier provider of financial solutions for the American Armed Forces community. And as the Director of Partnership and Member Engagement, I talk with other nonprofit organizations about what they are doing to help service members, their families, veterans, and the military community at large. And today's topic is, can you get life insurance if you have PTSD, or PTS as it is more commonly known now? I have Clifton Brown, who is the AAFMAA Vice President of Life Insurance, and Jessica Nadrchal, AAFMAA Underwriting Team Lead. Cliff was an Army brat, as they say. His father was a retired colonel, and he has been in the life insurance industry for 33 years. He has been with AAFMAA for almost 20 years, serving our members and their families. Jessica has been in the life insurance underwriting world for 20 years, and she has a focus on behavioral health as her main underwriting strength and emphasis. Thank you both so much for being here today and bringing your years of expertise in this subject.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate being here.
Yeah, a lot of service members get worried about mentioning their PTS diagnosis when applying for life insurance because they're afraid maybe they're going to get denied. But those with PTS shouldn't be afraid. So, Cliff, can you tell me in your experience why this stigma is out there?
Yeah, first, let's just say that there are some weird notions about life insurance. One of those notions is that life insurance greatly increases at age 50. Don't know what it is about 50, but that's simply not true. Okay. Another one is somebody with PTSD can't get insurance. Know this, right? AAFMAA issues policies every day to applicants with PTS. It is not an automatic denial. And it is always best to disclose rather than not disclosing any health condition that you have, because not disclosing puts your policy at risk. I think applicants shy away from PTSD because it's a behavioral health concern, and there is a tendency to shy away from topics regarding behavioral health. The stigma is these conditions are a type of weakness or the person is to blame, and that's nonsense and simply not true. How about other conditions like diabetes or sleep apnea or cancer? There's not a blame for these conditions, and the same is true for PTS. It's not a person's fault. Here's a tip. Underwriters don't care about PTS or any of those other conditions. I mean, they care about them. They need to look into them a little bit, but they just want to approve a policy for the company, right? That's what it comes down to for an underwriter. As a member-owned association that supports the military, AAFMAA sees a number of applicants with a history of PTS, and we work hard to provide the best outcome for our members.
Yeah, that's great, Cliff. And you made some really good points about how that stigma is centered around that it is maybe a weakness in somebody, something that they could control. And it's not just like, right, diabetes or cancer. So just as someone who has been in the underwriting life insurance world for 20 years, can you kind of explain what you are looking for when you see medical information regarding PTS from service members?
Definitely. Yeah. As you know, Cliff mentioned, there is that stigma that exists, and it exists not only for soldiers and their families, but it exists for the population at large. So we treat anyone, whether they're service related or not, the same with PTS as we would with any other condition. So what Cliff mentioned was that we are looking for honesty. If you have been diagnosed with PTS, let us know. Tell us up front and get us a chance to get ahead of it and underwrite it in the best way that we possibly can. The next thing I would note that we look for is when the symptoms began, when the onset of the symptoms began, or the date of diagnosis. There can be a large amount of time in between when symptoms begin and when you're actually diagnosed with PTSD. So let us know when the symptoms began. Let us know the date of your diagnosis. If you don't know the specific date, if you can give us a ballpark, that's great. That really helps us get our head in the right direction. The next thing that we look at when we're dealing with someone that's got PTS is the severity of their symptoms, or how their symptoms of PTS are affecting their lives on a daily basis. Is it mild, moderate, severe, or is it a mix in between? PTS is an emotional condition and can fluctuate over time. So we're just looking to kind of find out where you sit in our guidelines, so that mild, moderate, or severe, or someplace in between. The other thing that we look for are coexisting or co-occurring behavioral health conditions. So we're looking for any signs of anxiety, depression, or more serious mental illnesses such as bipolar disorder and things like that. So if those are co-occurring, we want to know about them so that we can address them up front and get the medical records that we need, get the documentation that we need. Another thing that we look for is the course of treatment. How have you been treated across the course of your PTS? Um, you know, did it start with medications? Are you in individual or group therapy? Are you doing some cognitive behavioral therapy, or a mixture of all of those things? We really want to know how you're taking care of yourself, how your physicians are taking care of you. So those are things that we definitely look for. We also look for adherence to a treatment plan. If your doctor has said X, Y, and Z, this is what we need to do to address your PTS, are you following through with those suggestions? Sometimes, medications are prescribed by the physician, but the person doesn't want to take medications.
Right.
So how are they alternatively treating their PTS? That's important for us to know. And then adherence to that treatment plan. Are you doing what your doctor is telling you to do, or following the guidelines or things that are set up by your therapist for you to do? A lot of times we see individuals that go through re-exposure therapy and things like that. So, we want to see that you're following through with a treatment plan, that you're doing what's best to live your best life. And we use all of these elements because they better help us to define, identify, and assess how well managed the PTS is. And that's for each individual applicant. Although the diagnosis is the same, it's PTS,
Mm-hmm.
it affects each individual differently, and each individual has their own story to tell us through the underwriting process. So those are kind of the things that we're looking for when we're addressing someone with PTS. But those are also the same things that we'd be looking for with any other behavioral health issue, such as anxiety or depression or substance abuse. And that's kind of where we start.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm so glad that you kind of walked through the process of medically what you're actually looking for and why you're looking for it. And that it's just being open and honest in that if you are a service member and you have a diagnosis of PTS, that just letting you know, right, as the underwriter, hey, this is what it is and this is what I'm doing about it, just takes the mystery out of it so that you can then give a proper assessment to that. And AAFMAA as an organization, of course, we are here to service our service members, veterans, their military families. We see this all the time, right? That's kind of what you're saying is, I deal with this all the time. It's not a big deal. Ask questions if you need to. One of the things that kind of comes up, especially as we talk maybe in the transition space to service members getting ready to leave service, is about those who might already have a life insurance policy, and due to some life events, they decide that they need more insurance, and they're going to apply for some more insurance, and they go, well, now I have a PTS diagnosis. Is that going to affect in any way a current life insurance policy that they have in any form?
No, the existing policies that they have were adjudicated and assessed at that time they were issued. So what we're looking for now is the current information and what currently is going to affect the policy that they're applying for.
Okay. That's great. And that just brings a lot of clarity to maybe something that can be a bit of a mystery or uncertainty in going through the process. And we know as service members are transitioning from service, there is so much going on in their lives. And one of them is life insurance, right? What are they going to do to protect their families? And so that's a place where AAFMAA can be a place to not only ask questions and educate yourself through that. So Cliff, like if somebody has questions, specific questions about their kind of case and condition, who could they reach out to?
Yeah, they can simply call us. I would encourage anyone who is wanting to learn more to call us at 888-713-3347 and speak with one of our team members. We're happy to just answer questions and better understand what specific options are available for you and your family. I know it's great that our membership coordinators have a direct line to the underwriters. So if there's a question they can't answer, then we work as a team here to get those answers to you.
No, that's great. That's a wonderful team effort to make sure that the person is able to get the right information regarding their specific questions. So it sounds pretty easy for those service members or veterans or even military spouses who might have questions about this. They can just contact somebody at AAFMAA and get a better understanding about their life insurance options. And you can do that one of two ways. As Cliff said, you can call 1-888-713-3347, or you can even get right online and you can go to the Get a Quote section. We'll drop that here in the comments, and you can go through the Get a Quote process and somebody will reach out to you to be able to walk you and your family through this. So I just want to thank you both, Cliff and Jess, for being here today. Between the two of you, you have 53 years in the life insurance industry. So I really appreciate you bringing your expertise and maybe unraveling some of those questions that people might have regarding PTS and life insurance and what that means. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us. Thanks, Sarah.
Well, I'm Sarah Bumgardner, and that will wrap up our AAFMAA Live for today. If you would like more information about AAFMAA and financial readiness within the military community, you can subscribe here to the QR code on the screen. Otherwise, I thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great day.